Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to the Battle of Richmond. This is day 2 now, and you can see the glitch that is very annoying, where the AI is turned sideways and somehow they spawned within my lines. So now I have to realign my brigades so that they are ready for this onslaught that is about to occur. In other news, the devs are going to release a patch, probably I think tomorrow, and with that patch they will be releasing the new 1864 campaign option, so that will be great to see. And a lot of other fixes. One big change is that politicians assigned to brigades, divisions, etc. will have more of a chance to incite feuds on the battlefields, whereas volunteer officers will have less of a chance to incite feuds on the battlefield. So that will be a big change. I am not sure if they saw my bug report of the AI turning sideways, so hopefully within the next 2 patches or so they will try and optimize that AI issue. So initially this day is about an hour long, so you may not see the full hour. Obviously I do not want to upload a hour-long video. I don't think many people would enjoy sitting and trying to have full attention for an hour. So I will try and record the highlights of this day and the next 2 days following. So here I clicked play. Let's watch the initial attack here. Oh, that's Lee's brigade on the right there, about to fire point blank. I also have my artillery on the right there, ready to fire canister. So there they go. There goes the artillery, launching canister into those brigades in front. I feel sorry for them. Kaboom. While the rest of the corps that you see, they're not moving. That's interesting. I didn't notice that while playing. But up here, the situation is slowly increasing. Hampton's division is still waiting. Some brigades are getting bombarded by the enemy artillery. So I'm going to move my artillery up and engage them. So cutting back over here, this one brigade, having no options, charges into Lee's South Carolina Militia Brigade. So they are going to be swiftly cut down and defeated. There goes another brigade running off. Mass devastation for the Union in this section here. This greatly reduces their numbers. And so here I take back my breastworks positions, trying to reform my line. And then for the rest of the day, this corps will just sit here and not do anything. Which puts a hamper on the next 2 days. I should have been more aggressive and I should have pushed them off the field right here. There they go, running off. Donald's brigade, they're firing into the flanks of that Union brigade right there. And so over here now, a few brigades are coming forward and starting to engage my lines. Very piecemeal of them, but you can also see brigades on the right here are now moving to their extreme flank, trying to hit my troops mainly from the rear. I'm sure if I would have kept Hampton's division here, they would have been flanked. So I'm going to try and put breastworks here to try and counter, but I do not have enough space to put breastworks. So right now it's just a very piecemeal attack while the rest of the Union Army shows up to fight. So after a while of skirmishing with these brigades here, you can start to see that new brigades are arriving from the rear. These are really fresh brigades, most about 2,574 troops. Not sure why that number is chosen. It may be from the modding that I did to the brigade sizes overall. But I assume that they are fresh new recruits, except that one. I think that one saw a bit of action. But they will prove quite efficient later on. They are going to be tough to crack. So as you can see from that tactical map, they are really gunning for my right flank. They're trying to set up on that flank. So I'm going to try and send DH Hill's brigade over onto that flank, but it will prove ineffective. So essentially, what I do is I pull Hampton's division back and form up behind Beauregard's corps. And so here, not much action, just lots of small firing going on with small skirmishers. But you can see the devastation already from that morning attack. If we want to be more role-playing perspective, I guess we can say that the Union decided to charge the Confederate breastworks in the early morning, rather than saying, oh, they glitched and turned sideways and spawned in the midst of my troops, you know? So, this is essentially what's going on in these early morning hours. Just lots of skirmishing, and I pull back Hampton's division, so I will cut to when that happens and show you more of how this battle on this day unfolds. So here we are, Hampton's division has fallen back, and we can see that the enemy is starting to come down the road towards my center line. They will set up in the woods right in front here on the right side, center right side of the screen. This is where they'll be for the next 2 days. And it becomes heavy fighting in this first part of the battle. On this day, they try so hard. I believe that they actually charged my lines a bit. Kind of similar to the battle that you guys missed, where it was like Fredericksburg all over again. Just constant charging and mass casualties. So, just preparing my troops. I've integrated some of Hampton's division into the main line here. And especially, I will move them to the right side because, again, the Union thinks my right flank is the weakest. So they try and sweep around. So as you can see here, they pulled back and they aren't doing anything. And that becomes an issue. I keep waiting and waiting, thinking, oh, they're going to attack, they're going to attack. They're going to swing around in the center there of my half circle. But in all honesty, no, they don't. The main fight is over here on the right side. And what the Union decides to do, especially with the extreme flank attack, that becomes a major problem in this fight. And I almost lose the fight. At one point, it becomes really tedious. So I will cut back to another highlight of this battle. So cutting back here, the brigades are starting to line up and are starting to push forward. A lot of them are exhausted due to the rough terrain that they are going through, especially the woods here. But I have most of my skirmishers in the front trying to delay them as much as possible. There goes a brigade that fell back. Stovall's brigade here, they are going to become crack shots, crack troops. And no, I don't mean by the drug, I mean they become super elite. But you can see here, they have sent a Union division off to the old Cold Harbor Road, and I have sent a division over trying to delay them in case they try and push the ford there and attack. So far, they do not. But this becomes an issue, and essentially, this is the make or break. If I lose this flank here, then I may lose the fight, because then they will be all in my rear. But the main Union army is right there on the map. Again, the left flank, the fighting is stopped. But this is where the most intense fighting occurs for today. We can see they have the skirmishers. These guys don't want to fight on the flank. But the artillery is pounding. The musketry is going off. It is a true Civil War battle. While this is playing out, I just want to talk a bit about maybe some future plans for the channel. On the side, I think I've been trying to record some of Scourge of War gameplay. I think what I want to do is I want to start with the Battle of South Mountain, Fox's Gap and such, and go through the entire Battle of Antietam, and probably all through the Battle of Gettysburg to have as a Let's Play series. So if that sounds interesting, then obviously I will record it for you guys. The only issue with Scourge of War is that for some reason the optimization for recording is so poor that I have to narrate it afterwards. For some reason it does not pick up my microphone while in the middle of recording. And the screen resolution is a bit smaller, so it's not going to be 1920 by 1080p. It's definitely going to be smaller, so apologies if that's annoying, but the FPS is quite fine, and I think the game for tactical realism is fantastic. So if that's something you're interested, then let me know, because right now all I'm doing is Grand Tactician, and I don't want any viewers to be like, man, this is boring, all he does is one game. You know, but of course I'm new, so you know, this is how it's going to start out. I don't obviously have a ton of games or new games to play yet. So, but it seems like some of you guys are enjoying this Let's Play, especially of this game. So I will keep it up and show the patches, the updates, and hopefully once we get to final release that this game is going to be well received and is going to be an amazing game. Most people on the threads, they already have about 500 hours, 300 to 500 hours played. So that just shows how devoted some people are to this game. And I think with that devotion, and especially those who have paid the early access version of this game, that is going to help support the developers, because it's a small team, 3 to 4 guys. They are just cranking out patches and updates, and they are listening to the community, which is something that's very rare nowadays, I believe, in the Steam community. So it is major progress for them. It is so beneficial to everybody who wants this game to succeed. So here, the Union artillery has moved up really close in the woods here. And so they are just unleashing hell upon some of my brigades here. So I decide to release skirmishers and harass and try to get rid of the Union artillery. I cannot have them pouring canister into my brigades. So here we can see the Union has crossed the little creek bed there. They are now engaging some of my skirmishers. However, this division here, I believe only one brigade has a rifled musket, so that would be hard to maintain that side later on. One brigade has moved over on this road here, engaging the corner of my right flank. Skirmishers are still keeping up at it, running out of ammo though. Brigades have moved up and are getting closer to my lines. Really, they are just setting themselves up for slaughter. And here we can see a Union brigade coming forward. I believe they're going to charge. They are feuding. And Stovall's brigade charges the flank. And unfortunately, due to them initiating the charge themselves, they are going to break and rout from the field. However, I think it should be optimized so that if your brigade charges the flank of an enemy, it should break the enemy immediately. I don't see how them charging the flank would cause them to rout off the field. So right now they have 5-star experience, which means they are now crack troops. So they are very efficient on the battlefield, excuse me, despite losing that melee charge there. So they'll run off. Luckily they do not leave the field. They will stay and rally. But now that Union brigade is firing into the flank of the brigade that was to the left of Stovall. And so obviously I have to turn them and engage this Union brigade head on. They are slowly encroaching on the left flank here. You can see him nearly point blank, face-to-face firing. But the brigades are so disorganized that they don't know what they're doing. So that brigade is now going to withdraw. They felt that they have had enough. So I decided to reposition that brigade so that they are more centered. And over here, of course, nothing on the left flank, but they are really developing their lines on the right flank here. So far, my skirmishers are keeping them at bay. Nothing to worry about, per se. And there they go. They're still running away. I'm surprised Stovall didn't get himself killed. I hope I'm saying that right. Stovall? I don't know. So pardon me if you get irritated. But as you can see, McClanahan, he was wounded previously. I couldn't find in that instance where he was wounded, but I do remember him being wounded. So here's another issue. This is what I'm talking about. Here they are trying to turn their lines like how the extreme left flank did, and they spawned in my lines, but this is that in action. So they're going to try and come over the lines to set up this diagonal, but I do not believe that brigade marching up makes it. They fall back. But it's silly. Like, I don't understand what that optimization is. One of the things in the next patch coming up is that they fixed the... Whenever a brigade decides to withdraw, they do like a dance glitch. They kind of like jerk and dance about, and they never actually withdraw. But here comes another brigade charging into the lines. Of course, since they initiated first, they are going to fail. Now, technically, since they're charging on the flank, this brigade here should break. In reality, that would be the case. But for some reason, they optimized that so that any charge is going to break the attacker's morale. So he's already rallying. He's unstable, but he's getting there. And again, since they tried to do this diagonal turn, that brigade is broken. A few are breaking here. They're running off. It's just mass slaughter in this tree line here. You can't really see it because of the trees, but there are a lot of bodies in those woods. So there I see that McClanahan was wounded. I think I finally discovered that he was wounded. But that's okay. His troops fight on. I do believe that they become crack troops or 4-star. I don't remember. So far, just lots of skirmishing, keeping them at bay for as long as I can. I know there's one brigade there, yeah. He was trying to come all the way around, but I believe he stopped because of high fatigue. Either that or he's just moving really slow because of high fatigue. So, that's his problem, not mine. They're still trying to get out. For some reason, they can't figure out. I believe in this instance that they would be captured for staying so long in my lines and running amongst my troops. 2 brigades left on this side. I was figuring that it was going to be similar to the Fredericksburg scenario I had in this campaign, the one that you guys missed, the Ackley Ferry. Where they just, all day long, they just consistently charged my lines and kept battering and battering. But in this case, they charge here and there, they move up close, but the overall positioning of their army stays relatively back. They do not want to commit all of their forces into the maelstrom. You can kind of see the casualties piling up there now. But due to this brigade's lack of retreating, they are down to... I believe they end up being around 73 men. As of right there, that was, I believe it's 100 men, which is ridiculous. Like that's like Pickett's charge casualties in this instance. They're still trying. I believe these are 2 brigades there trying to move around the extreme right. Artillery's going at it. They're pounding shells into them. Yeah, you can see the bodies piling up there. Last I checked, yeah, about 71, 73 troops. Again, the footage for me is blurry when I'm narrating this, so it's hard for me to see details, but that's their entire brigade is gone. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. So that brigade is retreating. One more, I do believe they're withdrawing. And the artillery can't fire because there are Union brigades right in front of it. So that is hindering them too. Their cohesion is really far off. But here comes 2 brigades crossing the creek bed there. There's a couple more brigades moving forward. So I try and engage with this brigade here, was a Squire's brigade. These guys are engaged now. This creek bed proves very important in the last day of fighting. It becomes very tedious for both sides to try and cross. But this side has completely dissipated. They could not withstand the assault, so they're going to fall back where the rest of the divisions are and probably catch up on their fatigue. Again, this entire left wing and center of my army is inactive. Hardee's division especially. And here I am, I'm debating, I'm going to bring them up as reserves in case all of these Union brigades break that single division on the right. I need to reinforce my right flank. And what I should have done, you know, like I said earlier, I should have engaged the corps on my extreme left, routed them, and then used the rest of my army to sweep up around the right flank of the Union and then send them running. But I was so worried about defending and trying to keep my troops in good morale and ammunition that I decided to stay and hold my position, which ends up proving very costly for me. So here they are, they're getting closer, slowly crossing the creek bed there. Just lots of musket fire now, just picking each other off. And they send so many skirmishers on this side here that my brigade cannot handle it. They start to struggle later on. So while there's a lull in the fighting, let me cut and I'll come back to the next piece of action. And you can see I move a brigade up trying to support, but let me cut back. So here Hardee's division has finally showed up behind the lines of this division here. So they will be in support. But as you can see, my 2 brigades here are starting to withdraw. They cannot handle the ferocious attack that the Yankees are throwing. And so for most of this day, and I believe the next day, it becomes like a mule shoe scenario where it's just a constant fight for those breastworks over and over. But you can see the sun is starting to set. It's starting to fade away as the casualties mount for this day. A little bit of a lull in the fighting. Brigades are shifting and moving about. You can see in the center there, I have put Preston just I'm not sure. It's like GIF or GIF. But I kind of spaced them out trying to maintain that place. But these two brigades are just struggling. They're trying to keep at it, and I'm trying to keep them at the breastworks, but they won't listen to me. And partially that's because the division commander is feuding against me. He does not like the corps commander, which I believe is Beauregard. He does not like, I believe it's Early, General Early, that's the division commander, and he doesn't like it. So these two Union brigades are coming up, and they're going to not charge, but they're going to assault over the breastworks. And so it's up to these two brigades to really, you know, keep this part of the flank in check. However, that Union brigade decided to call it off for some reason, but the assault is starting to mount up here. The brigade that's firing right there, they have the Lorenz rifle, so their range is quite far, so that's why they're the only ones engaged, and the rest of these brigades, they cannot because they are out of range. And I definitely need to get them better upgraded muskets ASAP. And so I have the one brigade behind, man, I wish I could see the names. So it was Woodson's brigade on the right there. They're trying to engage that Yankee brigade coming up. I almost said regiment. This is brigade based, not regiment based. But I figured, I say, you know what? I might as well move this brigade up because, well, instead I send skirmishers. I thought I was going to send them up because the rest of them are just sitting. They're not really engaged. So, I believe it's Hubbard's division or Sanders' division. It's one of those two that's defending the front there. But I try and position Hardee's brigades up and around to try and create a more formidable defense. And throughout this day, a couple of brigades, enemy brigades, have withdrawn from the battlefield. Some of them just were, especially that 70-man brigade that was left. I'm sure they're gone. But this little ford right here, this bridge crossing, road crossing, these is becoming heavily contested with enemy. And unfortunately, I believe it's either this evening or the next day that they decide to break and they run away from that position, which makes defending the right flank here even more difficult than it already is. So you can see here another glitch is occurring where for some reason they have redeployed sideways, but they are trying to attack this portion of my line. I believe that they knew or discovered that, oh yeah, I forgot about this part. For some reason, my cavalry decided to charge even though I told them to fire at them, so I'm charging the skirmishers. I believe luckily it does get the skirmishers out of the way, but it's just an unnecessary risk that I accidentally took with my cavalry. However, as I was saying, I believe they discovered that my center was weak, so they sent some brigades over, which obviously you can tell that it is extremely weak. But nighttime is really approaching. It is almost the end of the day. I believe around 20 o'clock that it becomes the end of the day. So this side has been engaged with skirmishers, brigades of all sorts. Everyone is just going at it here on this hillside. I did send McCrae's brigade over. McCrae's brigade. I did send them over trying to help flank, but I feel that I need to pull them back now because that Union brigade is getting closer on my right. And so I decided to pull everyone back just a bit because I feel that it's unnecessary casualties. So, yeah, this side here is really going at it. I don't understand that glitch on the side there. I think it is so annoying. I hope they really do fix it. It doesn't make sense. Like, what in the pathfinding code messes up and makes them do that type of thing? But you can see here, I basically did regain the breastworks there, so that's a plus. Trying to get these guys back because you can see that they are just taking unnecessary casualties. I can't seem to get them to pull back though, and that's a real frustration. And that's what makes feuds and delayed orders so great, because it really adds to the authenticity of battle, where you yourself as the player or the commander wants something done, but in reality it would take minutes or even hours for those orders to arrive. And that's what decides the fates of battles, I believe. So this cavalry is about to break because obviously they're being flanked and they will not listen to my fallback order for some reason. I think finally they do. Yep, there they go. So I do believe I get them out. Nope, just kidding. There they go. They couldn't handle it. And only one side of that brigade is firing, and they are out of range, so I need to do something about that. I need to reposition these brigades soon. But all of the past 2 days, it's been indecisive. It's been a bloody draw. It's just, I've never seen anything like it. I thought the other battles I have fought in previous videos were intense or impressive, but the more bodies on the field, especially when it starts to reach the 100,000 range, it becomes very interesting. Unless, you know, you have pathfinding issues and they completely turn their cores as flanks against you. I don't understand that. I believe if the AI had not done that, they would have won this battle, because it becomes neck and neck. But I believe since they are doing these glitches, it allows me to get free passes at reducing their numbers and causing morale breaks. So here I finally decide to move those brigades to reposition and actually start firing upon that enemy. It becomes very difficult to maintain all of your troops, and somehow this brigade here broke. I believe they were the ones I couldn't get out in time. Either that or they were flanked, I'm not too sure. I wasn't paying attention. But since I have Hardy's division in the rear, they become the anchor point of this flank. And throughout the night, I decided to build breastworks with Hardy's division, because right now that side is just an open field and it's not good for my troops. Preston trying to move forward and engage. This side here, again, the mule shoe, it's just been a very contested fight for the past 5 or 6 hours. Then I decided to move the Virginia Brigade up to hit that skirmisher on the flank. But a lot of their divisions and brigades are just sitting by. They aren't acting accordingly. I feel as if the AI had launched, if they had not had those AI pathfinding issues, and I believe if they had coordinated all of their divisions and brigades and attacked appropriately, again, I probably would have had to fall back or withdraw from the field. But since most of them sit idly by, especially that left flank, it leaves a lot of nothing. Lots of, I guess, suspense. Lots of suspense where one side has to make the move. And I feel it's unfair that the player always has to be the one to make the move, so to speak. There should be a good balance of AI and player interaction, and I have full confidence that they will fix this and optimize this. But right now it seems that everything has to be based off of the player. If the player doesn't move or attack, then the enemy is going to wander around the map until you find them or they bump into you. But so far, their flanking maneuvers, their smaller assaults and stuff are starting to flesh out of the coding, and I think it's a huge plus to this game. And I'm excited to see the full capacity of this AI if and when they finally succeed in coding it properly. And finally, the end of the day arrives. After much fighting, we are resupplied. You can see a lot of Union brigades have withdrawn from the field. However, I believe and here we are. The deployment glitch happens again, and this proves to be a huge issue on day 3. So, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next day. Bye-bye.